Welcome to the deep dive. Some challenges are truly ancient, persistent foes that have plagued humanity for millennia. Malaria is absolutely one of them, a disease that just keeps adapting, constantly challenging our efforts to control it. But this deep dive isn't about the usual suspects in malaria eradication, the nets, the sprays, the traditional anti-malarials. No, today we're taking a surprising look at a drug many of you might recognize from very different headlines. Ivermectin. We're going to focus purely on its unexpected yet, well, fascinating potential as a weapon against malaria. Our mission today is to unpack the scientific detective story of ivermectin's journey, from its groundbreaking discovery to its surprising consideration as a potential game changer in mosquito-borne disease control. We're offering you a shortcut, really, to being well informed on this truly unique scientific saga. Okay, let's begin by shining a light on ivermectin itself. What exactly is this drug, and why was it originally so groundbreaking, and how did researchers even begin to connect a drug like this, primarily for internal parasites, to a mosquito-borne illness like malaria? Was it just luck, or?
It's quite a remarkable origin story, actually, and that's a great question about the leap. Ivermectin began its life as a truly revolutionary antiparasitic drug. It even won a Nobel Prize for its discovery.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, it gained fame for its incredible ability to kill both internal parasites, like various roundworms, and external ones, like the mites that cause scabies. Its mechanism is quite specific. It works by disrupting nerve function in these parasites,
Okay.
which leads directly to their paralysis and ultimately, well, their death. Importantly, it has been used safely for decades across millions and millions of people.
Right, that safety record is key.
Exactly. That established safety profile is a huge part of why it eventually became a strong candidate for broader public health strategies, including some pretty unconventional ones like, potentially against malaria.
So before we get to that unconventional leap, maybe remind us, what exactly are we up against with malaria, the disease and its partner in crime?
Right. Malaria is a complex and devastating disease. Fundamentally, it's caused by Plasmodium parasites.
Parasites, okay.
And crucially, these parasites absolutely rely on Anopheles mosquitoes to infect humans and to keep that transmission cycle going.
The mosquito is essential then.
Absolutely essential.
Yeah.
When an infected mosquito bites a human, the parasites get into the bloodstream. From there, they invade the liver cells first, then the red blood cells. And that's what leads to those characteristic cyclic fevers and other severe symptoms we associate with malaria. It's a relentless cycle, really. And to break it, you need to hit it from multiple angles.
Okay, this next part is where it gets really interesting, almost mind-bending. How does ivermectin, a drug meant for treating people, manage to impact mosquitoes that feed on their blood? That feels counterintuitive. How did researchers figure that one out?
Yeah, it's one of those out-of-the-box scientific insights, isn't it? It makes you do a double take. Researchers had to really think differently here. The core mechanism is truly fascinating. When humans have ivermectin circulating in their system,
Right.
mosquitoes that feed on their blood ingest the drug. And what happens next is pretty remarkable. Those mosquitoes, well, they die faster. And they even stop laying viable eggs.
Wow.
There was a pivotal study back in 2015, a real eureka moment in this story. It clearly showed mosquito survival rates plummeting. They dropped from about 97% survival down to around 52% within just 2 days after feeding on blood treated with ivermectin.
That's a huge drop.
It's massive. And the implication isn't minor. It's profound. By treating humans, we could indirectly turn them into a form of, well, biological mosquito control. It fundamentally changes how we might fight malaria by directly decreasing the overall mosquito population and effectively shortening their lifespan.
Giving them less time to transmit the parasite.
Precisely. Less time for the parasite to develop inside them and become infectious.
That's a truly clever strategy, kind of like a biological shield starting from within the human population. But okay, beyond just killing the mosquito faster, does ivermectin also have an effect on the Plasmodium parasite itself? Once it's inside the human, I mean. Is there another layer here?
That's an excellent question, and lab studies have definitely explored this next layer. There's some evidence suggesting that ivermectin can interfere with the parasites, well, its self-transport mechanisms, how things move around inside it, and maybe even stop them from multiplying, impacting both the sexual stages, which are needed for mosquito transmission, and the asexual stages that cause disease in humans.
So it could hit both.
Potentially. However, it's really important to acknowledge here that the results in these lab studies have varied quite a bit. Some show pretty strong effects, while others don't show much at all.
Ah, okay. Not so clear-cut then.
Exactly. This variability really highlights the complexity of its action within the human host regarding malaria. It needs more targeted research. It's certainly not as straightforward as its impact on the mosquito.
Right. So, given this potential, both against the mosquito and maybe the parasite,
Mm.
how would you actually use ivermectin on a wide scale to fight malaria? What's the big picture strategy researchers are considering? And what are the practical hurdles?
Well, the key strategy being explored, thinking about public health on a large scale, is something called mass drug administration, MDA.
MDA, right.
This involves giving a drug to basically everyone in a specific region, whether they're currently sick or not.
Okay, like a preventative measure for the whole community.
Exactly. The goal is to break those transmission cycles across the entire population.
Mm-hmm.
And ivermectin seems to fit the MDA criteria quite well. We know it's generally safe from decades of use. It's convenient, just a tablet, maybe a simple dosing like 3 days a month, and it's relatively inexpensive.
Safe, convenient, cheap. Sounds promising for large-scale use.
It does. There was one projection, quite optimistic perhaps, suggesting that just 3 monthly doses could potentially cut malaria cases by as much as 71%.
Wow.
And reduce the overall prevalence, like how many people have parasites in their blood, by about a third.
That would be huge.
Absolutely massive. But of course, the practical hurdles you mentioned are significant. Ensuring everyone actually takes the pills, reaching remote areas, keeping supplies consistent. Those are always big challenges with any large-scale health intervention.
That's an incredibly encouraging projection, though, a real potential game changer. But, as often happens, the real-world evidence sometimes throws a few curveballs. So, what happened when this was put to the test in actual field trials? Where does our scientific detective story stand now?
This is where the plot definitely thickens. The real-world trial results have been quite mixed, unfortunately. It really illustrates the complexity of translating, lab findings and theoretical models into consistent impact out there in communities.
Okay, so what did they find?
Well, for example, there was a fairly large trial in Burkina Faso around 2019-2020. It actually showed no significant drop in malaria cases linked to the ivermectin MDA, and they noted that the effect on mosquito lifespan seemed to fade after about a week post-dose.
Any idea why?
Well, it's crucial to consider the context. During that specific trial, they were also distributing insecticide-treated bed nets quite widely.
Ah, so that might have masked any effect.
It's possible. It could have skewed the results, or maybe the nets were already doing a lot of the work, making it harder to see an additional benefit from ivermectin alone.
Right, confounding factors.
Exactly. But then, in contrast, there was a trial in the Gambia where ivermectin was combined with another standard antimalarial drug.
Okay.
And in that case, the combination did significantly cut malaria prevalence.
So maybe it works best as part of cocktail.
That's one possibility being explored. But looking broadly, various other trials and systematic reviews up to around 2021 still concluded that the overall evidence for ivermectin on its own remains insufficient.
Insufficient, okay.
Yeah, they emphasized the clear need for more continued robust research. It's a classic reminder that sometimes clues lead to more questions rather than a simple solution. The investigation is definitely ongoing.
So the investigation continues, the plot is still unfolding. What are some of the biggest challenges researchers are still grappling with now? And what's on the horizon? Any new clues or new avenues?
Indeed, the search for new tools never really stops in this fight. Looking ahead, one significant challenge researchers anticipate is the potential for ivermectin resistance to develop in mosquitoes over time.
Like we see with insecticides.
Exactly like that. It's a constant evolutionary arms race. So that raises the important question, how do we stay ahead? How do we manage or delay resistance if this strategy is widely adopted? Because of this and the mixed results, researchers are absolutely exploring other avenues too.
Like what?
Well, one exciting example is a different drug called nitisinone. It's actually used for a rare genetic disorder in humans currently.
Nitisinone. Okay. How does that work against mosquitoes?
It shows potential to be maybe even more effective at killing mosquitoes. It works differently. It blocks a specific enzyme that mosquitoes absolutely need to digest their blood meal. No digestion, no survival.
A completely different mechanism.
Right. It's just a reminder that the battle against malaria demands continuous innovation and adaptability. Researchers really remain open to any new solution, any new angle that could help in this global long-term fight.
Okay, so summing it all up then, it sounds like ivermectin might not be the standalone silver bullet some hoped for.
Probably not on its own, no.
But its unique potential, especially maybe when paired with other drugs or strategies, clearly warrants continued, rigorous investigation. It's still a fascinating chapter in this long battle.
Exactly right. And it's important to remember that even partial success,
Mm.
even just killing mosquitoes a bit faster or reducing the parasite load somewhat, even if it's not complete eradication from this one drug,
Yeah.
that could still have a profound impact. It could save countless lives. It really expands how we think about disease control vectors.
Yeah,
And, it really makes you think, considering the whole cyclical nature of malaria transmission and humanity's long, long struggle with it, how might a drug like ivermectin with this kind of multi-target potential, hitting both the parasite, maybe, and the vector, how might that encourage us to think differently about integrated control strategies? Could it perhaps inspire completely new approaches for other vector-borne illnesses too? Things we haven't fully explored yet. What other unexpected connections might be out there, just waiting for us to find them?